Joe McNeil, golf instructor, San Antonio, Texas here. Down here on the back part of the range at the Golf Club of Texas where I teach. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I thought we would just talk about raising a junior golfer. I'd answer some questions that I get asked repeatedly and hopefully give you some clarity and maybe add some direction on how to steer your junior golfer into the competitive world of tournament golf. What do I do to get my kid interested in golf? I'll tell you what, when my kids were young, I was trying to play for a living unsuccessfully, but I practiced all the time. And at the time we lived in Indiana, I had a big 6-acre yard. I had a putting green, bunker, had short game area that I hit and pitched to. And I was out there all the time hitting, or hitting into a net with my driver, or hitting it, across our land. And the kids were young at the time. They would just come out with their clubs. We got them a club, and I just let them follow me around. They'd follow me around and imitate me. And kids want to be where their parents are. So if they see their parent having fun, they're going to want to be around that. So just make it fun. Let them see you having fun, not miserable, breaking clubs, throwing clubs. Let them see that, and they'll be following you around. You won't have to push them. My kids couldn't wait to get to the golf course. So I didn't take them at 3 years old to the golf course, maybe the driving range and stuff. Elijah, I want to say, was about 7. Abby was probably 7, 8 years old. Jehu was a little younger, maybe 6, and Destiny was 6, 7 years old before we took them out on the golf course. So they'd been at the range a bunch and they'd played in our yard all over the place. But I wanted the golf course to be something that they felt that they had to earn, that they didn't just have it handed to them. So one question I get asked all the time: when should we start private lessons? My philosophy on this is, because I do a lot of group classes with kids, I think they should do camps, classes as a group, maybe little 30 minutes private lessons here or there when they're younger than 8. As they get 8 years old and up, they can generally handle the private lessons. Boys need the extra time. Girls sometimes can start a little bit younger. Girls are a little bit more mature at that young age, but the boys, if they're 8 years old, we can start with private lessons. I have a lot of 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds that we do private lessons with. So as long as they're going to get the work in, 8 years is kind of, what the target date I set for private lessons. And then below 8 years old, camps, groups, things like that, work on improving etiquette, grip, things that don't have to be taught in a private setting. How do you coach your kid on while they're playing? So we see this all the time. We go to a tournament and the parents just losing their mind. He's playing terrible, and they're shouting things from the weeds. So what I like to do with my kids, because I have 6, 4 play tournament golf, and it is hard as a parent because you want to intervene, you want to see them do as good as they could possibly do. So what I do is we just make notes. We don't talk about it while they're playing. We don't do any of that. We don't say anything. And at the end of the day, they take notes as well, and we kind of go through where do you feel like you struggled. And I'd show them, hey, you know what I saw on this? You're not really going through your routine. I saw you just stepped up there, looked like you were dealing with some nerves on hole 3. Yes, I was dealing with nerves there. I got nervous, I skipped over my routine. Okay, and then we'll rehash, like the importance of a routine. You need a solid routine under pressure. That's how you play consistent golf. So we don't do coaching while they're playing tournaments. We do it at the end. On the ride home, we'll talk about it while the round is fresh in their mind, and I'll get their input because they're the boss, right? They're the boss of their game. The parents, a lot of times the parents I see that are interfering, the parents can hardly break 100, or the parent doesn't play at all. So less said on the course during a tournament, the better off you are. When do they work on their game? Definitely not during a tournament. Not even, during the week when they're out there playing. You can do some stuff, but I do a lot of the work on the driving range, and we talk a lot, especially as they get older into high school. We talk about what they're seeing, because that becomes very important into high school. How are you seeing the course? How are you managing? What part of the fairway were you trying to hit? Were you going at every pin? You know, were you aiming at the center of the green? What were you thinking when you got that ball in that, you know, the difficult lie? Things like that. So you can do all of that stuff on, you know, a lot of that on the range, and then just casual rounds you can work on that. But so hopefully that helps. When should you play your kids in tournaments? You should play your kids in tournaments when they can play 9 holes on a short course by themselves, and, you know, with you watching, but they're able to, you know, get the ball in the hole under 10 shots. Then go ahead and sign them up for some US Kids. US Kids does a great job of running local tours because they're very short courses. They lengthen as the kids' ability gets better. So I'd encourage you to check out US Kids if you're in the South Texas area, South Texas PGA, and then there's the Beltway Junior Golf Tour. Those are some great things. As they're playing 9 holes by themselves and they're able to, you know, keep score, get them in those tournaments. Let them meet other kids and learn to start competing. It's a great time. Also, the drive, chip, and putt, they don't have it this year because of the coronavirus, but usually the drive, chip, and putt, drivechipandputt.com is free to sign up for. It's a great competition for kids. You can go on their website and learn a little more. That's a great way to introduce kids, even if they haven't played 9 holes. It's free. They get a towel, they get things for just signing up, and then they get to see what they're up against. It's a lot of fun, and get your kids out there. Get them out there playing golf. Get them out there having a lot of fun. So is it all work all the time? Heck no, not all work all the time. I have a lot of times where I don't go out with the kids. I let them go out and play by themselves. That's really important. The parent does not have to be there for every single round. When they are there for every single round, the kid gets so focused on what the parent's attitude is, right? So the kid misses a putt, the parent doesn't say anything, and the kid's going, oh my gosh, are they mad at me? I gotta try harder now. Now the kid's thinking more about pleasing the parent than he is about just playing the game and scoring. So they need to have times when they go out and play and have fun, and the parent's nowhere to be seen. Let the kid just enjoy the game. It's a game. So I really like, you know, my kids to treat it as a game. A lot of times they'll play for, you know, chores around the house. Whoever loses has to do all the dishes, or whoever wins doesn't have to do chores for a day. Things like that. I love games like that because it gets them, you know, engaged in the game. And then, you know, they're focused on winning, but I'm not around to sit there and yell at them, oh, hey, you didn't go through your routine, blah, blah, blah. And they just focus on competing, having fun. That's super important. So how much do they practice? So my kids will hit the range 3-4 days a week, and they'll play 18 holes 3 to 4 days a week. So we usually try to get anywhere from 54 to 63 holes in a week, non-competitive. I like to put the kids on a team scrambling against me. I like to, you know, just give them something because they always want to beat dad, right? And they're good players now, so when they scramble against me, that's very hard for me to beat them. And that keeps them very motivated. So make things fun. One thing I think is important is in developing a junior player is, you know, we work on attitude a lot. We work on smiling, pretend you're on TV, pretend you got fans watching you, you know, smile, have a good time. But really be thankful for the opportunity. Because growing up, junior golf was not real big. I didn't start playing till late in life, but we were more a basketball family. Golf was not widely spread. I mean, the high school golf team, there was hardly any guys that really broke 40. So it was a lot of 45 on 9 holes, 45, 48 shooters. Let them know, guys, it's a privilege, and I try to create that with my kids, that, you know, they don't have tournaments every single weekend, they don't get to play in everything, so they got to make each one count. And they practice, they got to focus their practice. They don't want to go into that tournament, you know, they get 5 or 6 tournaments over a summer and just play awful because they didn't focus on it and throwing fits. We've seen that. I see a lot of kids out there have terrible attitudes, throwing fits because, you know, there's another tournament next week. And mom and dad will buy them the latest equipment. So I get my kids good equipment and stuff, but I want them to feel this is a privilege. This is a privilege. It's a privilege to play in a tournament. It's a privilege to represent your family represent yourself well. And I like to see that. I like to see character and just an appreciation. And mom and dad aren't just going to sign me up for everything. I'm going to have to treat this and steward this well. When we see that, then we reward them and allow them to play more and more as we see that maturity. So as far as caddying goes, you know, I caddy for Destiny, the younger one. And when we caddy, you know, I'm not working on technique or anything. We'll talk about fantasy football. She's a huge football fan. You'll see her Dolphins hat in every tournament she plays in. And, you know, we'll talk about fantasy football. We'll talk about anything. We don't talk about, hey, this next shot you have to win. Now, when we get down to the wire and it's, you know, last hole of the tournament, if we're close, she wants to know it. And so I let her know, hey, you're one up here. Let's just hit a good drive. And, you know, or you're one down here. We got to be a little bit more aggressive on this hole, something, but we try to keep it lighthearted, let her have a lot of fun. Attitude to me is the #1 thing with a junior golfer. We've played with a lot of kids that are just very sweet, parents are sweet, but we've also played with some kids that I don't want my kids hanging around. Very nasty, not just not shaking hands at the end, but just comments, like you're not gonna beat me again, things like that. So I want my kids to win. And I don't have a problem if they get beat. If they're beat by somebody better than them, then that fires them up to work hard. So I like that. But I don't like to see a nasty attitude, and I will not tolerate it with my kids. If my kids ever acted the way some of these kids I've seen, they would not play in tournaments anymore, or some of the parents are crazy. So attitude is really important, and it's important to my students. So if I have a student out there, I want to see good attitude. I want to see good attitude out of them. I don't want to see broken clubs or, you know, yelling, screaming, treating people bad. I want kids that play competitive golf, when they see they're paired with your name or my kid's name or my student's name, whatever, that they're excited. They go, oh man, I like that kid. That one's nice. So my daughter Abby makes lots of friends out there, and they come down and they'll play at Golf Club of Texas with her and have a good time. But then when it's tournament time, you know, they're trying to beat each other. That's healthy. Competition can be very healthy for your kids. Don't let it become toxic. I absolutely will not. I will not coach a kid that's like that. We'll work on that a little bit, but if they don't lose it, then you can move on and go to somebody else, because I'm not tolerating a toxic attitude among my students. So what do we work on? On the range, we work on swing, routine. You know, is the swing on plane? Are the hands on there correctly, the same way every time? We work on those things on the range, and then we always have fun. Just make sure you have fun. Do some challenges. Even if you don't play golf, pick up a little club, challenge your kid. They'll love to beat mom and dad, even if you're not very good. Give them something to shoot for. Having a dream. I believe for kids, having a dream is really important. For me, growing up, I was a big basketball fan, so I watched Michael Jordan, and you know, my player at the time was Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks. I loved watching him dunk, and I wanted to play in the NBA. I did not quite have the height, and I was also a big NFL fan. Barry Sanders, Dan Marino, Randall Cunningham. Love watching those guys. And nowadays, kids play so much video games, or golf's boring to watch. I'm telling you, get your kids to watch the majors. Get them to watch the LPGA Tour if they're a girl. They need to see what they're up against. They need to see an incredible shot. If there's a tour event near you, take them to it. They need to see how those people hit, how they act. When we've done that, we've taken our kids to the Valero Texas Open, took them to the BMW Championship in Indiana. And they've been to the web.com down here, and they've been around some tour players, and when they do, they see how those guys conduct themselves, and it's inspiring. So kids need something to shoot for. They need a dream. They need something that they're going, I want to be like that. So get them around it. If you can't go to a tournament, let them see it on TV. Let them watch the Masters. Let them dream about playing in the Masters or the US Open or the PGA Championship, the British Open. Let them see those great rounds. We've went on YouTube. Sometimes we'll just sit down and we'll look at, you know, miraculous hole-in-ones on the PGA Tour or incredible shots. And we'll see these incredible shots. We'll see the guys skipping it off the water on 16 at Augusta, and they see those guys, wow, they like to have fun and they can hit crazy shots, and it inspires your kids to go out and do that. Let them watch trick shot videos. You know, the kid will learn to bounce the club on their lob wedge or sand wedge, pick it up off the ground without using their hands. Things like that. It inspires the kids, lets them dream, and then that unleashes just that creativity and just that artistry when they go play golf. They're not trying to do a certain swing. They're not trying to please mom and dad. Maybe they'll see some, oh man, I see this low slicing shot on the green. Then play it. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. It's important that they have a dream. It's important that they have imagination, that you feed that imagination, and that they know this is a sport. I know a lot of you parents are wanting those scholarships, and you can put a lot of pressure on that kid. Just back off, let them do it. If they're going to get a scholarship, they'll do it because they love the game of golf, not because you've pushed them so much. We see kids get pushed so hard by their parents, and then the kids quit by the time they're a teenager. Let the game be fun. Let them record some trick shot videos. Let them attempt trick shots. Let them do some crazy stuff. Have a lot of fun, and you'll get the most out of your kid. Well, I hope this video answered any questions you may have had about junior golf, how to raise them. Anything I didn't answer, please go on my website, joemcneilgolf.com, drop me a line or give me a call. I'd be more than happy to talk with you and give you some advice on raising your junior golfer. Click up here to subscribe to our YouTube page. It really helps us out. Watch our other videos. Let us know what you thought. Take care.